Okay, guys, we're gonna read the poem Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe, and just looking through it, um, seems to be 6 lines in every stanza. Stanza 1, stanza 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's only 6 stanzas in this. Um, but as you know, our pre-reading was about um, losing someone, grief, how people handle grief, how people cope with grief, how people cope with death, what your definition of everlasting love was. So it kind of gives you a hint to what this will be about. I'm going to read the poem entirely, and then I'm going to go through and break it down for you. So let's begin. It was a many year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden lived there whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And in this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child, and she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs in heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her highborn kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels not the angels not half so happy in heaven went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. So, as you can see, it's kind of like a little love story gone wrong, and that's why I asked you about grief and death and handling death. So, I want to take your attention to the first stanza. Um, I'm going to make it a little bigger. And it says, it was a many year ago in this kingdom by the sea that a maiden there lived who you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. Just by those first 4 lines, a lot of people kind of get confused. They really think he literally means, kingdom by the sea and, they live in this place. But if you think about it, this, the way it's worded, it was many year ago and in a kingdom. He called her a maiden. And, he talked about living by the sea, and if you think about it, when you think of maiden or many years ago, what other stories start out like that? Far away, long time ago, and they're fairy tales. So if you look at the way he words this first stanza, the maiden that lived, may know by the name of Annabel Lee, a maiden's an unmarried woman. It's almost like he sets up it like a fairy tale. He starts it out like a fairy tale. And if you think about it, fairy tales are always about love and finding your true love. And then the last part of the stanza says, and this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. So he's trying to tell you, the only thing they really thought about was their love. They were so in love. They were, almost consumed by this love. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. So he's telling you that, he's still using that whole kingdom by the sea, that fairy tale aspect. But he's trying to tell you if they're children, they probably fell in love young. And so young love is always, sweet and loving. But then he tells you in the next stanza or next 2 lines that we loved with a love that was more than love. I and my Annabel Lee. A love that the winged angels in heaven coveted her and me. They wanted our love, because that's what covet means. They were kind of jealous and they wanted it. So he's trying to, show you the significance and the greatness of this love that these two share, and how everybody is jealous of it because it's so pure and it's so real that even the angels in heaven want their love and they're jealous of their love. So in the next stanza, and And he says, and this was the reason long ago in this kingdom by the sea. A wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee. So you got to think about it. Like, it didn't just make her cold. He's trying to tell you that, her body's chilled. So if somebody's body is chilling, that means it's getting cold, which means it's dead. And so then he says, after her death, her highborn kinsman, so her rich, noble kinsman came and bore her away from me. Well, she's dead, so where do you think they're taking her? So they shut her up in a sepulcher. And I told you a sepulcher was a monument or a stone. And back during this time, sometimes they buried people in like a stone monument in the mountains. So he's saying that they took her away from him and buried her, away from him. So, he's kind of heartbroken. The grief is overcoming him when he's thinking about this. And so he's got to find a reason why somebody would kill, why something would happen to this woman that he loves. Why could they be so happy and somebody kill them? And so he's looking for an answer. And then in the next stanza right here, he says, the angels, not so half as happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes. And notice that it's like a line break and an exclamation point. That was the reason, as all men know, in the kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. So he's saying the angels were not so happy as heaven. So they were so, jealous of this love that they're the ones who came down and took her away from him. Again, does this make sense to us? No, but remember, this man's in grief. Remember, Poe lost his mom, his wife, his brother, everybody important to him. So he probably didn't handle grief very well. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many who were wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea could ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. So he's saying, because dissever means you can never cut it apart, you can never break it apart, it stays together forever. So he's saying that even though they killed him, our love was stronger. And older people, wiser people, even the angels in heaven, the demons, that none of them can ever dissever our souls and cut our souls apart from each other. So he's trying to say no matter what they did, their love would always be intertwined. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of my beautiful Annabel Lee. So think about it. When the moon is beaming, it is nighttime. So he's telling you every night it brings him dreams of his beautiful Annabel Lee. And then when the stars rise, I can feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. So even at night when the stars are shining, he feels her presence. And all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in this sepulcher there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. So a lot of people think that, when he says, they take it literally. Like he literally lays down and lays by her tomb every night because he misses her so much. A lot of people figuratively says he kills himself and he gets into the tomb with her or lays down dead by the tomb with her so he could be there and never dissever their souls from each other. Again, we don't know for sure. This is just kind of the hints he left us. Now you need to go do the questions. And if you have any questions about this, please let me know.